Today's episode is brought to you by Skillshare. Well, hello there, and welcome back to another episode of Bad Flashes. Today feels like paradise. I don't really know why, just does. I feel good today. I hope you do too. Today's film journey starts a few months back in 2022 when I received an email from the mythical land of Montreal. And it reads a little something like this. My name is Bei Ning, and I am the founder of POFA Camera in Montreal. I love your channel, and you are basically the best YouTuber / content creator / human being that has ever existed in this plane or the next. And we would really like to send you some film. Yeah, it went something like that. I mean, I could be paraphrasing just like a little bit. And me being worse than one of those episode of Hoarders, I replied, yes, please. As I looked around to find any space to put more rolls of film in my fridge. Not a lot of room. The film in question is called Luminar 100 and is a film that is re-spooled by POFA cameras themselves. I hope I'm saying POFA right. So the big questions are what, where, and why does this film exist? Why is definitely the easiest of the three. So let's grab my emotional support human and find out the answers to those burning questions. Today's journey would have us heading up the 14 to California City. And yes, there is a city called California in California. I guess apparently they couldn't really find a unique name. I can at least think of 4 right now. Lady Gray, Calculator, Obama, California. But our main mission for today would be visiting an abandoned hotel up in the desert. But along the way, we would also stop at other reject locations that we had passed by several times on our way back from a bigger trip. Our first stop would be this little haunted house next to the highway, tucked along the mountainside. How do I know it was haunted? Well, because the spray painted sign said so, and I always believe spray paint. This little barn out back was a pretty cool subject to shoot. I wondered, what the hell was this used for, and how the hell is it still standing?
Something up there, which might be a water tower thing? There's rock formations down here. A little platform. Like a little barn. As much as I would love to stand over there on that platform and stuff, I don't want to die today, and that looks a little jankety. I probably should not go under there either.
Well, this is fun. My battery died on my Leica. So, I'm relying on my phone. Good thing it's a fully manual camera. 5.6.
And one thing to mention is that this film isn't rocking a DX code, but I thought I would just toss it in for a fun little fact.
Hey! No, officer, I haven't been drinking tonight.
I must admit, I quite like this shot of the fan. This little flash always packs a punch.
Bounce the light that way. Let's see if I can.
See if it works. Who knows?
So the first thing I noticed when examining this film is actually the color of the negative itself. It's not burnt orange like most film stocks, and it lays extremely flat. So if you're one that ventures into scanning of any type by yourself, then you'll love this film base. I also noticed that it had some blue colorations or light leaks towards the end and the beginnings of the roll, which I can only assume is due to the hand rolling process. And at the end of the day, if you lick it, it still tastes like film. I love that taste.
Okay, now on to the next one.
After we had our fill from that little haunted house, we hit the road for another house, which we've always wanted to stick our cameras into. Now, for being an abandoned house along the highway that I presume is traveled quite frequently, it was in decent shape. I mean, as decent as tumbleweeds, peeling paint, and a destroyed toilet could be. I guess what I'm really saying is that there was no graffiti. And of course, since I'd find myself deep inside those abandoned buildings, I would need to bring my Voigtlander 15mm lens. I wonder what the last meal in those bowls were. Probably some soup maybe, or some cereal. Okay, so I must admit something. I already know what this film is. Sorry, I really can't hide this from you any longer. Friends don't keep secrets from each other. Unless you left an upper decker in the motel bathroom and left it for the cleaning crew. Keep that one to yourself. But I was trolled straight up when deciding to shoot this film that it's Kodak Areocolor 4 2460. It's an aerial mapping and aerial reconnaissance photography film, which I don't really do a lot of in this episode. So, sorry? But if it rings a bell, it's because it should. You've definitely heard about it before.
And Kodak Areocolor 4 film.
Aerocolor, not to be confused with Aerochrome.
So yeah, it already exists from other resellers, but I have to say what it does have going for it is the price. Right now it's only around $11.75, which I think makes it the cheapest today, which is not an easy thing to say. Those words really no longer exist when you're talking about film in the same sentence, which makes me sad.
Hey.
There we go, baby.
I feel like some of my favorite photos came from this little shack out back, particularly this shot of the workbench, but without the flash. I think it's because it's moody and I'm really going through a Wednesday phase right now. Also, like, what the hell is hanging from these hooks? Do you think it could have been a pinata? Yeah, that makes the most sense. Next up, on our way to the abandoned hotel filled with copious amounts of dreams, would be this little farmstead right off our main exit.
I don't think that seat is structurally sound.
And yes, this was the end of the roll. How do I know? Well, this big ass light leak. It happens with hand-rolled film. I have to say, the 15mm lens was the knockout performer here at this location.
Wow, look at that ceiling right there. It's just caved in. I could hit my head on it. And this must have been like some sort of bathroom outhouse thing? Really confused. I really like these archways though. Like, it's really cool. It's a cool design. Time to kind of get out of that place.
Overall, when scanning the film with my mirrorless setup, I noticed that the film came out a bit on the cooler side as opposed to what I was expecting. Other films like this came out on the warmer side of the sun. I also noticed it was a bit flat, like a pancake, so I ended up boosting the contrast overall in post. But I do have to admit, this film is very versatile overall, so you can really do whatever the hell you want with it. And as a disclaimer, you might get different results if you have your lab scan it, or if you let your grandma do it as well. I mean, she'll probably do something completely different than you will. Now, diving into the technical papers, Kodak was kind enough to share some real-world applications for this film, such as crop, forestry, traffic control, and oceanography, none of which I will be doing anytime soon. I'll just keep taking pictures of trash. Once we arrived at our final destination, and no, not our death, the hotel, we were sorely disappointed. This hotel was, in fact, in the middle of renovations. Dang. I guess it was a good thing that this was not our one and only mission today. And to be fair, the reason I wanted to go in the first place was because of this cool sign. I mean, come on, this sign is dope. My photos? We're not. An average Joe at best. Well, after about 5 minutes, we decided to head back towards LA. The sun was setting, and in the distance, my eagle eye spotted an abandoned bus. So, disappointed and distraught, we thought, what the hell, might as well check it out. Now, diving back into the technical papers of this film, it claims that it has an anti-halation undercoat, which on first reading sounds a bit sexy, but in real life, it's not really. At the end of the day, when looking at a few of the shots, it looks like the coating wasn't really covering up all those dangly halation bits anyway. Like, maybe without that layer, it looked like 800T with a light bulb shoved in his face. Who knows? To be fair, I'm not really mad at it.
This lighting is amazing.
I must admit, I'm glad that I have 20/20 vision. And if the only reason is to spot little gems like this, then that's fine with me. This was a perfect little way to spend Blue Hour. And I must admit, this film did a superb job of capturing the sunset.
That's the real Caleb.
But before we continue today's episode, let me tell you about today's sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online community that can offer you a gaggle of different creative courses to expand your mind here in the new year. And one of the great things about Skillshare is that they have a ton of different classes to choose from, so you can find almost anything. You can take a new class to help you paint, or crochet a little bunny rabbit, or you can brush up on your unicycle skills. No, probably not that one. One class that I've been going back to is by Dickie Jr. about the 3D extrude tool in Adobe Illustrator. I've been wanting to level up my text game in my videos, so this is a natural class for me to take. Most of the classes are easy to follow, and some are less than an hour, so you can master a new skill in no time. And the great thing about signing up for Skillshare is that you won't run into any ads, so you can remain in your flow state without being interrupted. That's incredibly important to me. So if you feel like upping your game with a new skill, or making that ever so important career jump, Skillshare has your back. For the first 1,000 people who use the link in the description box below, will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Honestly, you can learn a lot in 1 month, and even an hour. So go click that link in the description box below, and let's learn a new skill together. Back at Luminar 100. Overall, this film has a few things going for it. It's extremely fine grained. I was super impressed with the latitude and the price from POFO cameras. It's kind of hard to pass up. So if you're looking for a fun film that will perform and at a decent price, you really can't go wrong with it. At the end of the day, I'm not really sure where these different companies are getting this film from. Maybe it's Kodak themselves. Maybe it's the black market. Who knows? But more color film is always great to me. I mean, Ultramax is expensive. Color Plus is also expensive. Gold, I don't even remember how much gold is, but I'm sure that's not cheap either. What are you supposed to do now? Shoot digital? No. Okay, thanks again to Beining for this film, and I'll check you guys on the filmity flop. I kinda like that.